Hola mi gente, I'm Sean, brand ambassador with Spanish 55, and in this video we're going to be talking about the top 5 countries that you should visit to practice your Spanish, in my humble opinion of course. Now I've been speaking Spanish for about 9 years. I've spent time in 4 different Latin American countries, and I've met Spanish speakers from basically all Spanish speaking countries. And these 5 countries that I'm going to mention are of course, in my opinion, based on what I know, and they're in no particular order either. And you'll probably notice that I go a little bit deeper on a couple of these. You'll notice which are the ones that I've spent some more time in and have a really deep personal connection with. And one other important thing I should mention with all these countries is they all have some good playa. Playa, of course, means beach. So if you're just looking to go to the beach for a couple days, and of course practice your Spanish while you're there, all these countries have some good beaches to offer as well. Now, of course, each one of these countries has its own unique characteristics, right? But some common themes that you'll find in all these countries is they all have great people, extremely nice, friendly people. They all have great food, and the Spanish spoken in all of them is fairly easy to understand and fairly normal, right? Of course, each country has its own slang, and these countries undoubtedly do have their slang as well. But I would say that compared to a lot of the other Spanish-speaking countries, the 5 on this list, in general, the Spanish spoken there is fairly easy to understand, even if you're just an intermediate or even a beginner speaker. And keep in mind that this is something that you can work with a Spanish 55 tutor on, learning a bit more of the nuances of the Spanish language and also just getting you to feel more comfortable that way when you do make your first trip to a Spanish speaking country. If you haven't yet, you'll feel a little bit more ready. And also stay tuned for later in the video because I do have some exciting news if you're looking at spending a little bit more time in one of these countries in particular. Anyway, let's get started. Here are the top 5 countries, in my opinion, to practice your Spanish. Los mejores 5 países para practicar tu español, según Sean. The first one is Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a wonderful country. The Ticos, which is what Costa Ricans are called colloquially, are super friendly, nice people. You're going to love talking to them. And Costa Rica is also an amazing country if you like nature. Cascadas, montañas, playas, rainforest. ¿Cómo se dice rainforest? I don't even remember, but you get the point. There's a lot of beautiful landscapes in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is the perfect place for you to go if you're looking for somewhere where you can practice your Spanish, get in touch with nature for a while, and get totally out of touch with corporate America for a while. Otra muy buena opción para practicar tu español es Peru. Peru, just like Costa Rica, is a country with a lot of amazing landscapes, and especially if you're into things like ancient histories and cultures, there's a ton of that in Peru. You can hike the Inca Trail, of course you want to go to Machu Picchu, but you're really going to want to meet these people. Peruanos, not only are they super friendly, they're also a very traditional people. They love to talk about their culture. You can learn a lot about ancient history and culture and practice your Spanish as well. Go to Peru. The third one that I want to mention, and remember these are in no particular order, is Mexico. Where would we be without Mexico on this list? Now let's get right to it. Should I go to Cancun or no? Well, I wouldn't recommend Cancun as the best place for you to go to practice your Spanish. If you're looking for a tourist experience, there are a lot of other places where you can use your Spanish a lot more. In Cancun, they'll probably talk to you in English a lot. If you're looking for a more local experience but also want some beach, I would recommend places like Sayulita, Puerto Escondido. You can look these up and you'll figure out what I'm talking about. And I also want to show some love to Mexico's great cities because it's not all about beaches, right? Now, Latin America has some amazing cities for you to practice your Spanish in, and Mexico is no exception. 2 in particular that I want to give shout outs to because I've spent a decent amount of time in both are Guadalajara and Mexico City. La Ciudad de Mexico, El DF, CDMX. There's like 5 different ways that you can say Mexico City. And actually in Mexico, a lot of times, let's say that you're at an airport in a different part of Mexico and someone tells you that they have a flight that's going to Mexico, yo voy a Mexico. That means that they're going to Mexico City. So people will just say Mexico to refer to Mexico City if they're at a different airport in Mexico and they're flying to Mexico City. You'll see what I'm talking about. And if you're someone who's really interested in Mexican cities, Mexican lifestyle, remember at the beginning I said we have some exciting news. Spanish 55 has recently partnered up with Mexperience, a site that connects people to Mexican leisure, travel, living opportunities, and we've partnered up to create a course called Lifestyle in Mexico. So if you're looking at spending an extended amount of time in Mexico, whether it's you're going to retire there or you're moving there for work or whatever it may be, this is a course that can help teach you about money and finance when you move there. It's going to teach you local cultural customs and tips, and of course some of the language. You're going to learn a lot, so check out the link below. Anyway, back to Mexico City. So Mexico City sometimes gets a bad reputation because people from Mexico City, who are often called chilangos. If you hear the word chilango or chilanga, typically they're referring to someone from Mexico City. Now, there is kind of a debate. I've heard different things. Some people will say that chilango is just someone who is originally from a different part of Mexico but then moved to Mexico City. To be honest, I'm not quite sure, and I'm not sure if Mexicans are even sure what the true meaning of chilango or chilanga is. But the point is, in general, when you hear the word chilango or chilanga, they're referring to someone from Mexico City. Now, a lot of times chilangos get a bad reputation. People say that they're not so friendly, etc., etc. I don't agree with that stereotype completely. I think it's a bit natural for anyone who comes from a city of 20 million people or however many people there are that live in Mexico. It's a bit normal to maybe be a bit more just kind of, cold and tough and kind of have your guard up and always be on the defensive at times. But I don't think that people from Mexico City are mean per se. So if you hear these stereotypes, give Mexico City a chance. Really, give it a chance. I have some great friends from Mexico City. There's some amazing people there. It's also a great city with some awesome scenery, some amazing parks, historical landmarks, some great neighborhoods. Really, give Mexico City a shot. I think you're gonna like it. And of course, we have to talk about la comida mexicana. All of these countries have great food, right? But en mi opinión, la comida mexicana se lleva el primer lugar. Chilaquiles, enchiladas, tacos, tacos de pastor, tacos de carne, tacos de pollo, tacos de... Vamos por unos tacos y ya. Número 4, and like I said, these aren't really even in any particular order, so forget that I said número 4, but Spain. Of course we have to have España on this list too, right? Now let's put aside momentarily the debate about whether or not you should learn Spanish from Latin America or Spanish from Spain, because at the end of the day, the Spanish from Spain, it's fairly easy to understand. It's universally understood. Of course, they speak with a different accent, but if you learn to speak Spanish from Spain, you will be understood all over Latin America. And plus, people from Spain are just very sociable. Spaniards just really like to hang out and chat. They like to spend long times at restaurants and bars, just chatting, getting to know people. If you're looking to go to a Spanish-speaking country where you can practice your Spanish for long hours with locals, hanging out at restaurants and bars and in social settings, having some tapas and maybe some drinks until probably into the later hours of the night and then not really wake up very early the next morning, Spain is a great place for you because that seems to be the lifestyle there for a lot of people. Seriously, I have friends, other gringos, who have literally mastered their Spanish just by hanging out for long hours in restaurants and bars in Madrid. Y el último de los 5 países que recomiendo para practicar tu español, ¿qué va a ser? ¿Qué va a ser? Colombia. I had to mention Colombia. I always have to show love for Colombia. So many great people, great places, great beaches, Santa Marta, great cities. There's some beautiful people there as well, of course. So if you're looking for a pareja that speaks Spanish, Colombia is probably a great place for you. Now, I want to give a big personal shout out to Medellin. Medellin gets a bad rap because of all the narcos shows and stuff like that. But I was in Medellin for about 2 months, around 4 years ago. And Medellin is probably safer than the average Latin American city. I think it's a very safe city overall. It definitely must have been pretty dangerous back in the 90s, but now it's a very safe city in my opinion. And paisas, you're gonna love paisas. Those are what people from Medellin, or in more general from Antioquia, call themselves. So the state is called the state of Antioquia, el estado de Antioquia y la ciudad de Medellin. Anyway, paisas are super friendly. They love to meet people. They love to hang out in social settings. They're gonna love helping you practice your Spanish. They love to meet people. They love to meet gringos like you and me. It's a win-win for everybody. So go to Colombia, go to Medellin, and when you go to Medellin, take a side trip for a day and go to Guatapé. Guatapé. Telling you, you're gonna love it. Look it up, Google it, Guatapé. And I can't speak about Colombia without giving a big shout out to fellow YouTuber Andrea from SpanishLand School. Check out the link below as well to learn more about Colombia from a native. Y bueno chicos, eso es todo por el video de hoy. Esos fueron los 5 mejores países para practicar tu español según Sean. I hope you guys liked the video. Drop a comment down below if you have a comment on any of these countries that I mentioned, or if there's another country that you want to talk about. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already to get notified of when the next video is coming out. And of course, visit Spanish55.com to find the right tutor for you to take your Spanish to the next level. Hasta pronto!